Deep inside every human being is an animal, a creature whose only goal is survival. Most of us can contain the animal within, but we all know people who yield to their baser impulses.
Is the rat evil because it steals? Is the cat evil because he wants to eat the mouse?
The rat steals. Yet for him, the cat is evil.
And to the cat, the rat.
Yet, Master, surely one of them is evil.
The universe is made of a great yin and yang. The ideas of a positive, negative, sun, moon, dark, warm, cold, all in balance.
The rat does not steal. The cat does not murder. Rain falls, the stream flows, a hill remains. Each acts according to its nature.
This Escher painting of angels, shown in balance with devils. Angels and devils in balance like the yin and the yang.
Then is there no evil for men? Each man tells himself that what he does is good, at least for himself.
Grasshopper, a man may tell himself many things, but is a man's universe made only of himself?
We have to understand the balance of the good and the evil, and just understand the yin and the yang and the flow of life. But to understand evil, let's look at a deeper definition and understand that good people can be induced, seduced, and initiated to behaving in evil ways. So let's understand more about evil as a definition.
Evil is the exercise of power, and that's the key. It's about power. To intentionally harm people psychologically, to hurt people physically, to destroy people mortally or ideas, and to commit crimes against humanity.
The exercise of power to intentionally harm, hurt, destroy, lie, cheat, steal, kill, or commit a crime against nature or humanity, against self or others, and to upset the balance. The dictionary definition talks about morally reprehensible activity. And some say it's related to
Lucifer, an angel who started a rebellion on the grounds that God is too powerful. Kicked out of heaven, this charismatic rebel becomes Satan and declares that he'd rather rule in hell than serve in heaven.
If we look at the causes of evil, the devil inside us, we'll find that greed, the want of money, anger, when we want to strike back, delusions of false belief, arrogance, disrespect of others, and desperation, the need to survive. These are some of the causes of evil.
The amygdala is the center of emotion, the source of our primal desires. It is held in check by the frontal lobes and the temporal lobes, the centers of self-control.
The problem with my job is that possession looks a lot like insanity, and I need someone to help me distinguish between the two.
And as to Satan, the devil hath power to assume a pleasing shape, and inside as well.
We all have subconscious demons that we keep in check, but when the frontal or temporal lobes are compromised, startling behaviors can emerge. Behaviors we call evil.
In order to save the planet, to save humanity, we're going to have to be able to deal with the evil inside and out.
1 person in 20 is a psychopath. 1 person in 20 is a hero who will fight for what is right.
The rest just kind of go along to get along. They will follow a hero, they will follow a psychopath, because they're followers. Now we find out that there is an evil. In the little experiment that they did, they showed children a good rabbit, a good bunny, who would help, and then another one who would hurt. And then at the end, they found that most of the children would choose the good bunny. But yet, 1 out of 20 would not. 1 out of 20 would not choose that good.
Sugar is definitely involved in evil.
This extreme fisthold sugar has over society can no longer be ignored. There really are bacteria, sugar-fed bacteria in your gut, that can take over your brain. Antibiotics in the sugar industry have led to this takeover of the brain by the bile bacteria. Let's look at kids deprived of their candy.
We ate every bit of your Halloween candy.
This excessive emotional reaction comes from an extreme craving caused by that bad bacteria in your gut. Is not funny, this is tragic.
Not every child shows reaction to evil, and not every child is affected by sugar. Let's see the following scene.
The kid on the right is not so affected. The kid on the left is devastated. It was a mistake by our society to strip away the plant fiber from these fruits and to use the sugar cane dextrose sugar. And it feeds these bacteria and drives society wild.
Considering dietary fiber isn't food for us, but for our microbes, a diet rich in fiber from a variety of sources should also be good for our mental health. This information about the gut microbiome makes you start to wonder how many mental afflictions could be traced back to disruptions in gut health from, for example, diets rich in fiberless processed foods and refined carbohydrates, or from the unmitigated use of antibiotics. In the United States alone, tens of millions of people are prescribed antibiotics for minor afflictions.
Mental illness abounds, and it's not because they're deficient of drugs. They're not the solution. We must deal with the bowel flora.
Psychopaths can inflict physical and psychological harm on others without feeling a shred of remorse. They are the people most of us consider evil. And there are more of them than you might suspect.
1 out of 20 has some psychopathic tendencies, and 1 in 50 has severe pathology.
We all have an evil side that's kept in check by part of our anatomy, the amygdala.
How about a magic trick? I'm gonna make this pencil disappear. Ta-da! It's gone.
Every good suit comes with a knife for backstabbing.
Yeah, it comes along with the territory.
The worst psychopaths in history wore suits.
Here's a test of psychopathology.
First question, do you wish to kill your enemies?
Kill.
Second question, is it okay to kill children or risk children to hurt the enemy?
See, when we see a movie, like here's a movie, where this man has an atomic bomb, and he's going to destroy New York City. Now, George Clooney wants him killed, but yet the man, the sniper, he has the instinct not to do it. But you in the audience, you had the instinct to not want to kill the child.
Your Uncle Arthur used to have a saying, shoot 'em all and let God sort 'em out. Unfortunately, one day he put his theory into practice. It took 75 federal marshals to bring him down. Now let's never speak of him again.
Wire to the main office and tell him that I said, ow!
And wire, main office, tell them I said, ow, gotcha.
In Stargate, the evil Ra wants to destroy humanity and the human life force.
So we learn to hate him, the audience, that here comes a hero.
And it is okay for the hero to shoot at a soldier, but the hero would never hurt the children.
You see, when he won't hurt the children, we have an instinct. We don't like that.
We have an instinct to protect children, to save them.
Human beings, when we see a movie, we don't want a child hurt.
Only
There's
criminals
an instinct
and
in a
cowards
human
hurt
being,
children.
but not in a psychopath. Psychopaths have a different instinct. And here's giggling, laughing Truman after dropping an atomic bomb on people in Japan. Not one, but two. You see, the psychopath has different reactions. He doesn't see people the same. And he represses and suppresses sexual feelings.
10% of the people of the world are born left-handed. The choice comes from the head, not the hand. 7 to 10% of the people of the world are born with a cross-gender feeling as well. The choice of gender, the choice of sexuality, the choice of sexual arousal takes place in the head, not in the little head. In the big head, not the little head. Since 7 to 10% of the people are born this way, but only 2% of the people of the world express it, live it, that leaves a whole bunch of other people who must repress it. Some of these people, a small minority, repress it consciously. They consciously know who they are. Most of the latent homosexuals do not know that they are latently homosexual. That's the problem.
When a person spends his life hiding his true nature, he learns to hide emotions and he learns to keep needs and ideas secret. This is why so many latent homosexuals become psychopathic, because they have learned to hide their true self.
Suppression and repression of their own feelings makes a problem.
The answer is to accept people more rather than making fun of them.
We need to accept people and their sexual feelings.
If you spend a life hiding who you really are, you can lose empathy.
Yes, you can lose empathy towards others. Well, many historians believe that Hitler was homosexual. Thereby, he slowly lost his feelings towards other people. When Goering was arrested after the war, he was wearing a kimono. So oftentimes there's a struggle of sexuality.
Slope of evil. Mindlessly taking the first small step. Dehumanization of others. De-individuation of self. Diffusion of personal responsibility. Blind obedience to authority. Uncritical conformity to group norms. Passive tolerance of evil through inaction or indifference. And it happens when you're in a new or unfamiliar situation.
We can understand a lot more about evil, but always recognize that silence in the face of evil is itself evil.
There's a saying on my world: the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing.
Einstein said the world will not be destroyed by the evildoers, but by the people that just watch the evil without doing anything.
You're wrong. This ends only when people like us refuse to obey no matter the cost.
Stanley Milgram conducted experiments that proved that most people will obey authority. Most of them will commit unethical acts if an authority tells them to. There's an obedience to authority that we all learn from early ages, and some people can't resist.
But the point is, it's the same situation that can inflame the hostile imagination in some of us, that makes us perpetrators of evil, can inspire the heroic imagination in others. It's the same situation, and you're on one side or the other.
It's called thinking. And I'm not a very good American because I like to form my own opinions. I don't just roll over when I'm told to. Sad to say, most Americans just roll over on command, not me.
Unthinking respect for authority is one of the greatest enemies of truth and one of the largest causes of evil that we see in the world.
Most people are guilty of the evil of inaction because your mother says, don't get involved, mind your own business. And you have to say, Mama, humanity is my business.
Mankind was my business. The common welfare was my business. Charity, mercy, forbearance, and benevolence were all my business.
Many people have talked about how silence in the face of evil is itself evil, inaction. But now even greater, that the greatest evils that man has inflicted upon other men have come from people being quite certain about something which was in fact false. The delusion of false belief. You see, Hitler wrongfully believed that all Jews were evil, not human. Some people say the only good Indian's a dead Indian. And this quote here came from the President Theodore Roosevelt.
Murderers. The French. Are you here? Parfait.
We like war. We're a warlike people. We like war because we're good at it. And you know why we're good at it? Because we get a lot of practice. This country's only 200 years old, and already we've had 10 major wars. This country was founded by slave owners who wanted to be free. Am I right? A group of slave owners who wanted to be free.
This country was founded by a group of slave owners who told us all men are created equal. Oh yeah, all men, except for Indians and niggers and women, right? Always like to use that authentic American language.
I have certain rules I live by. My first rule, I don't believe anything the government tells me. Nothing. Zero. Nope. And I don't take very seriously the media or the press in this country.
This was a small group of unelected white male land-holding slave owners who also suggested their class be the only one allowed to vote. Now that is what's known as being stunningly and embarrassingly full of shit.
Especially if your country is full of brown people. Oh, we like that, don't we? That's our hobby. That's our new job in the world, bombing brown people. Iraq, Panama, Grenada, Libya, you got some brown people in your country. Tell them to watch the fuck out. So they killed a lot of white English people in order to continue owning their black African people so they could wipe out the rest of the red Indian people and move west and steal the rest of the land from the brown Mexican people, giving them a place to take off and drop their nuclear weapons on the yellow Japanese people. Can't build a decent car, can't make a TV set or a VCR worth the fuck. Got no steel industry left, can't educate our young people, can't get health care to our old people, but we can bomb the shit out of your country, all right? Huh? We can bomb the shit out of your country, all right?
And I think Americans really show their ignorance when they say they want their politicians to be honest. What are these fucking cretins talking about? If honesty were suddenly introduced into American life, the whole system would collapse.
That the human tendency to identify with groups and discriminate against those not in our group starts very young.
October 6, 1976, Cleveland Stadium. Joe Turkey Jones grabs Terry Bradshaw and brutally throws him down on the ground. It's brutal. Now, Terry lays still. And violence is okay. We like violence. The game of football is violent. But now we're worried. Is he going to live? Because that is the problem. A psychopath wants his enemies dead. Doesn't quite understand violence.
Researchers are now pioneering a radical way to eliminate evil by literally zapping it out of your brain.
Knowing what we know about the electrical structure and the vibration structure of the brain, we're able to devise a way to help to stop some of this evil. The SCIO-Eductor technologies improving cranial electrostimulation for 30 years, and we've been able to have positive effects on emotions, help to reduce evil. This new technology, we cover in a lot more detail. Just wanted to be able to show you some of the work that's done on pain, some of the work done on emotions. And basically, we do believe that there's a way for us to help stimulate rehabilitation, true rehabilitation, and be able to dramatically reduce evil with the SCIO in our technology, and even finding a way with an anti-evil aromatherapy to help to affect the brain directly, and to help to diminish the evil.
Of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object. Events are designed to reduce them under absolute despotism. It is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and provide new guards for their future security.
When there is a long list of abuses, it is time, it is duty for people to voice their opinion, not with violence, but with words of truth and intelligence.
Heroes are ordinary people whose social action is extraordinary, who act. The key to heroes are two things. You have to act when other people are passive. B, you have to act sociocentrically, not egocentrically.
It means if there's something wrong, those who have the ability to take action have the responsibility to take action.
All that tyranny and evil needs to gain a foothold is for people of good conscience to remain silent and do nothing.
If a man hurts me, and I punish him, perhaps he will not hurt another.
And if you do nothing?
He will believe he may do as he wishes.
Social laws and morals all spring out of our ideas of what to do to evil and how it should be punished.
Perhaps. Or perhaps he will learn that some men receive injury, but return kindness.
The Bible would tell us, do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. 1 person in 20 is a psychopath, sociopath, who doesn't see things the same. 1 person out of 20 is a hero who will give their lives for others. And the rest are just go along to get along people, who sometimes just freeze. Let's teach our children how to become heroes.
You should listen to your heart and not the voices in your head, like a certain uncle did one gray December morn.
Our humanity now must learn to survive, because we are challenging. We're at the point of extinction of the human race.
We've covered the causes of human evil.
Now let's summarize what we know about evil.
What we know is that there's 10 to the 28th power electrons in one person. That's incredible, inconceivable, unimaginable diversity in the human species.
Most people have a shared compassion and a neighborly hospitality.
They have a morality instinct to help or at least tolerate others. They detest and abhor the idea of murder, and the idea of hurting an innocent child fills them with physical disgust.
But for 1 person in 20, there is no shared compassion and less mortality. They do not feel empathy.
1 in 100 is capable of intentionally hurting others.
There will be always evil people.
Some people suppress and repress their sexual feelings so long that they lose the ability to have empathy with others. They can become evil.
Normal people can become slaves to authority and made into instruments of evil.
Most people look away from evil. Then they become evil because they allow it.
People with false beliefs, deluded ideas can be the greatest perpetrators of evil.
There are new advances in electromedicine that help rehabilitation.
But beyond the evil of humans, there is a Satan, there are demons, there is an undeniable possibility that there are evil aliens.
There's an ancient prophecy: an angel will bind the devil and bind that evil for
1,000 years.
That there's an evil entity that doesn't like life, and it wants to kill. Murderous intent.